What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I have a very special guest with us. Well, not with us because of COVID-19 and the current pandemic. He's on my laptop. His name is Jesse. He's one of my oldest friends, and he is a professional video editor. So today, we're going to get a few of his opinions on that side of things because he's more of a video editor. I am more of a videographer, photographer, and I just want to get his opinions on some things. So let's just jump right into it. All right, take two because I was an idiot and didn't record the first time. Spark Notes. This is my buddy Jesse. We've been friends for a very long time, and he is a fantastic video editor, probably one of the better ones I've actually seen in my very short lifetime. Jesse, say hi.
Hi, nice to meet you. So happy to be on the show. Long time watcher, first time caller. Nice to meet you. Um, no, yeah, no, me and Richard go way back. Known you for I think more than half my life at this point, which is pretty substantial. Uh,
Well, you are older than me.
yeah,
Like it's been like what? I just turned 25, so you're like 26, 27, something like that. Something in the old man range.
I'm not that much older than you, but somewhere around there. Yeah, no, so I did freelance video editing for a long time, and I guess is that the story you kind of want to hear? How I got started there, or
Yeah, I want to hear all about it. I was there for the journey, but the viewers, they don't know nothing. They don't know you from a hole in the wall.
that's true. Deal. So I guess where do I start about myself? I started. I don't even know. I started as a coach for a very long time. I was a martial arts coach. I was a parkour coach. I was a gymnastics coach. And I went around and I just loved doing that. Richard as well. Like we were parkour machines. Nothing could stop us. We saw a wall, we climbed that wall. We look at something and we went, dang, let's go up there. And it was neat. So we did that for a while. But that was my initial passion in life is I really wanted to pursue that expression of art through movement. And that was pretty freaking sweet. But I guess through years of coaching and all that kind of stuff, I feel like I got physically burnt out throughout the process.
And
I got
injured.
more tired and injured, and there's injury after getting more tired. And one of those things where if you're going full tilt 8 hours a day, then like you do anything enough, you kind of get burnt off out of it. And I like anything in life, you try to fill time. You don't just get lazy, but you try to make creative shortcuts into doing things. So instead of, man, I am going to just lay around the gym and do nothing. No. Instead, I am going to make use of my time and use my phone, and I am just going to record things that are happening. I'm working, but by working, I am recording people and then quickly just chuck it in Final Cut and then just chop it up into this grossest video possible and then give it back to my boss and being all like, look, you can put this on your Facebook page. I'm working. And they go, wow, thank you for working, sir. And then it was kind of one of those things where it started as that, and I had a lot of fun, creative ideas. I'd like to just, it was really just shooting the shit. It was just really just having fun with it, I guess. And then it kind of evolved, and somewhere along the line, it just kind of hit me that I was it was something I was just kind of doing at work, but then it evolved to something I take home, and then I'd work forever at this at home, and then I'd spend way too much time just working on these things, and then it just kind of hit me one day, and I'm just like, my God, I love this. This is incredible, and it's one of those things where obviously doing parkour for such a long time and doing cosplay with you as well it's I've always had the camera pointed in my direction, and I've always loved having the pointed camera in my wow, that wasn't English at all. I love having the camera pointed in my direction, but I never considered being the person behind the camera. It's, oh, there's a cameraman here, or oh, that's neat, that's a cool person to have, or oh man, I'll give this to an editor, the most boring job imaginable, as I've been told. Because I remember way back when I was a kid, and I'd try to make the stupidest little like YouTube videos imaginable. I'd be all like, "Cool, I've acted in this, I've filmed this. I don't want to put this in a video editor. That looks complicated and annoying. I'm gonna hand this off to one of my friends who wants to try it, and they tell me how awful the experience was, and I go, man, I don't want to touch that." So it was one of those things where when I got to the point where I actually had to touch a video editor to like try to edit, that it just like hit me like a truck where we're just like, this is a ton of fun. And then I was like, whoa, that's pretty sweet. And then it truly just snowballed from there. I started as soon as that revelation happened, I was like, well, I gotta be the fucking best at this thing I can possibly imagine. YouTube videos.
Survivor Man.
Oh no, that predates any sort of video editing. Survivor Man goes back to the timeline where I would film and then throw it to whoever wanted to edit it. Because if you look back at those, like those aren't edited at all. That's one cut. There's no cuts in those. It's just I give one of my buddies the camera and he follows me around a mountain, and there's no cuts. There's no editing in that. It was just straight from like an old like 2004 handheld camera directly into YouTube. But
those were genius, though. We need to recreate that, but better.
Yeah, I mean that would be a fun callback to go back to. But no, I think it just kind of the career path really just snowballed from there, and then I guess kind of the rest is history from there.
Yeah, so you used to freelance, and I used to make videos. Most memorable for me was Survivor Man, and like to explain a little backstory, Survivor Man is Jesse would be like a wannabe. What's that guy's name? Crocodile Hunter, something like that. And he would
Bear Grylls.
Bear Grylls. Yeah, so he would like put on a bandana and some like shaggy clothes and run around with this terrible accents.
It was cringy to say the least. I think when I made like that's nothing I'm proud of at all, but they're fun to watch, and they're one of those things that my friends bring up to be all like, wow, look how cringy you were in 2004.
Oh yeah, in like my Facebook and my cell phone, it's just Survivor Man. That's all I know you as, and that's what Kiana knows you as, is like when the phone rings or like Discord goes off, it's just Survivor Man. She's like, oh well, look, it's Jesse.
You know what? That goes to show for everyone at home that you can grow and improve and become a master of your craft, but you'll always be known for the cringy things you started with.
Definitely. So you started your own business. You started doing freelance. How did that go for you?
No, actually, no. I was gonna say, oh yeah, it goes. It goes as you'd expect. It was easy. It's not easy at all. It's so hard. The hardest thing is to get your name out there, and it is ridiculous. Freelancing is what I wanted to do. Freelancing is what I really like doing. Editing is what I like doing, but freelancing is the double-edged sword of the industry because there's so many fun things you can work on, so many fun opportunities and stuff that you can take charge of, but there is like from different YouTubers. I work for different YouTubers all around the world. I work for local businesses and made commercials for them, but all of that, I guess there's no other word to describe it than all that Grussel. Wow. I built up to a word I said wrong. It sounds like grimace. Like the hustle and the grind for it all. You work really hard for very little. And yeah, I feel like no matter how much you look for stuff, especially when you're just starting out, you will hear two very disheartening things where people have no idea how much time and effort goes into a project. If I spend 100 hours on a project, and that's like 100 hours like hard working into something, then they'll look at that and go like, I see. Well, it's only a 5-minute video. And 100 hours, you say? Okay, that should cost like what, $10? And it's like there's a real undervalue for time for what you're getting. And then there's also, as I'm sure you can relate to too, Richard, the very coveted, the very notorious working for exposure that you will get constantly. Because I don't think it matters what industry you're in, but if it's freelancing to any degree, it's exposure, and that nothing makes me more pissed off than that. I guess to be more blunt about it, like you wouldn't agree how many messages I get or how many DMs I get over the like years throughout all the kind of like ways that contact me and stuff. That'd be like, hey man, I'd love you to work. I love your stuff. I'd love to work on this project. And I'm like, cool. What is the thoughts? And then they give me a large breakdown of the project, and it sounds awesome. And then I'd be like, okay, well, what are we thinking for compensation? And then they'd like, compensation? But you should be honored to work on this project. And I'm like, listen, bud, you're a YouTuber with like 1,000 subscribers. This isn't like really helping me at all. It's like, I'll put your name in my video description, and it's like that's not what I'm here to do. Like, obviously, exposure is like you like aside from the name, you want to get exposed. That came out wrong.
Yes, it did. It came out very wrong.
you want to get your name out there. You want to have a good reputation and good hard work that behind your belt. But exposure doesn't pay the bills.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. And I can relate. The same thing as a photographer is like you try to get your name out there, and sure, when you're first starting, do some work for exposure. But when you've been doing it for a few years, like we know what we're doing. We're not the top of our field, but we're pretty damn good at what we do. And people still send us DMs like, you want to shot for shot, I'll shout you out. You shout me out, and you get photos, and I get whatever. You get exposure. I'm like, no, I don't work for exposure anymore. The popular term in photography is TFPs, like time for photos. I get their time so I can take the photos, and they get the end result. I don't do that anymore. I mean, the odd occasion I do if it's like an idea I came up with. And like I have some people who are down that really like my work, and they're just, oh yeah, I'd be more than happy to spend the time doing this. But doing stuff for free doesn't pay the bills, especially now in this huge pandemic. We need to get paid, especially because we're taking so much risk. I mean, yourself maybe not so much because you can work remotely from anywhere as long as you have your computer. But people who actually have to go out and like take photos or model, we put a lot of risk into it, and compensation is definitely something that needs to be considered.
Oh yeah, that's a whole different. Like I can imagine that's a whole different ballgame. Actually, having to go to places to freelance, especially in this like environment, that's got to be really stressful. At least I have like you said, the security of working from home, which always isn't available, obviously. But like I feel like there's a bit more. There's the opportunity if I wanted to edit for someone who's like in the UK, but you definitely can't take photos for someone who's in the UK. That doesn't translate too well.
Yeah, you've got a kind of a broader client base than I ever could, just because I'm limited for where I can go and where I can take my camera.
Totally. Yeah, I get that. But yeah, I mean, it's hard all around. I feel like me and especially like a lot of my work buddies I've been with, we all we don't tell horror stories, but we tell stories, and to the degree where it's like you start so young and innocent when you when you start freelancing. It's like yeah, totally. You really debate it. I guess I can work for exposure. No one knows me yet, and then like there becomes a point where you just transition, and if you ever get asked or you get DM'd now, it's like, I have an idea for a project, and then you like start the conversation with, here are my rates. If you want to talk after that, go from there. Because yeah, it's one of those things where I think I don't want to say people try to take advantage of you, because I don't think it's that nihilistic. I truly don't think that a lot of people understand the time and effort that goes into the process.
exactly. And like I do edit my own like YouTube videos and stuff, and any video work I do. But I also edit the photos, all the photos that I take. So I will spend 2 hours doing a shoot, and then I have to go home, and then that's another 8 hours of editing, depending on how many photos we took. Like 2 hours, I'm assuming I took at least 1,500 photos. I've got to sort through all of them, find the good ones, edit them, do the touch ups, make everything look pretty, export it. That's another eight
Yeah,
hours right there, on top of the 2 hours already spent like dealing with this client, plus gas, plus travel, all that fun stuff.
and like you can't just throw it in. I think there's the conception that like you just throw all the clips in like chronological order into your thing, uh, quickly chop up the cuts that don't work, and then export it. If it's gonna look like shit. It's gonna be terrible. There's so much more work and nuance that goes into it that like uh, projects that are only 5 minutes or projects that are like 10 minutes or anything like something short can truly take like 100 hours to do. But uh, yeah, I think there's a real disconnect from for the layman. But you know, I feel like as everyone gets more technologically literate, that I feel like that barrier breaks down a little bit.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think eventually people will understand. I mean, you talk to other people in either one of our industries or any other industries, they've experienced the same thing. And unfortunately, it's not just like individual editors, photographers, videographers. Like, it's not individual people that are being underestimated or devalued. It's the industry as a whole. People understand how important, okay, you need to get high quality images for your website or for your Instagram or any ads you might be running, posters, banners, you name it. You need to pay money for that. You can't just whip out your iPhone and go done, which I've seen a lot of people do recently, and it really bothers me. And I'm sure you've got an equivalent for editing. Is I can throw this in Windows Movie Maker and it'll look just fine.
Actually, no, there's the worst one. I don't know Apple. I'm an avid against Apple user. Hate me or love me for it. But there is an app program I've seen on like Facebook and Instagram and stuff, and my parents use it, and it boggles the mind. But it's you can take video clips, like you can shoot it, and then it like smart edits it together. But it's one of those things where it's like I've seen like especially for my parents, I've seen like a combination of like they'll record something and it'll be and sometimes it'll be vertical, sometimes it'll be horizontal, and it'll be like a mix match, and then they'll try to film something and it just like Frankenstein's it together, and it's a horror to behold for sure.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch. Like, there's a new AI program that is being released, I think, sometime this month. I can't remember what it's called, but it will like same thing with photo and videos. Like, you pluck it in there, and it will scan it and be like, okay, this is the best edit for this, and it will add things like artificial, like sun flare and like slowing it down, speeding up. I don't understand. I mean, I'm sure technology has gotten to the point where you can do that and get away with it, and it will look fine, but you're not going to have the same amount of detail and not the same amount of care go into the work to make it amazing.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't know, 100%. And there's just there's just a lot to it in that process. But I think that freelancing was really hard, but I feel like as a whole, it was an incredible learning experience. I feel like that whole process of that was like taught me so much as an editor and just as a professional in general.
Yeah,
So
and then
I
you went to
could,
school.
and then I went to school, and then a lot changed after that. School is definitely not for everyone. I would definitely not endorse school for everyone because I feel like it super isn't necessary a lot of times, and I really admire and appreciate people who are able to succeed without school. But I definitely used mine as a handicapped because, as a very socially awkward and very introverted person, networking is extremely hard for me. I have a really hard time approaching people. I have a really hard time getting to meet new people. So having school to be my networking tool was a lifesaver. and I feel like that is a large part to my success now is school. But like I said, I know that's not for everyone. But being able to, and like obviously with cost as well as everything else. But for me, I feel like it was a huge help to uh, getting contacts in the industry and the very, very tight bubble that is media, especially in the lower mainland area. It's one of those things where you have to know someone to know someone to know someone to do a thing for someone you know. But it to really getting your foot in the door is like a monumental task in itself, especially when you're someone who gets really nervous talking to people they don't know.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't make friends easy. I don't make connections easy. It just kind of happens at complete random, and I'm always uncomfortable with it. I'm great at talking to people. I mean, I've worked in the security industry for 6 going on 7 years now, and you learn how to talk to people, but there's that separation between like doing it for work and doing it for work for your own
Yeah,
personal stuff. It's different. I
because
think
you
that's like the only thing I think I would benefit from like going to school for say digital photography or videography is the connections. Because right now I don't like I'm sure there's things technically that I could learn, but I don't think I'd get too much out of it for the amount of money I'm going to be paying at this point.
it's a networking experience 100%. I feel like school was fun. I learned a handful of things, but not a lot. I feel like all like everything, as I said, overall a positive experience. That's all for that good networking business. Now I have 30 odd people who I know that like were thick as thieves throughout, and we'd like help each other with anything that came our way as far as like constantly trying to help us in our own personal businesses, and that's like such an invalue. That's such a valuable asset to have, and especially like, and it's obviously amazing to have friends along the way. But it's one of those things where, and like you were saying earlier, where there's a disconnect between meeting people for work versus meeting people for work. I
Yeah.
feel like it's one of those things where, yeah, same here. If I'm going to be coaching and I'm telling people what to do and we're going through drills or whatever, it's easy. I could talk to a room of 100 people and I don't care who they are or what they do on their off time. I can command, you do this. And, like, it's all fine and dandy, super charismatic. But as soon as I'm at like a networking event and I have to go and meet people, and like I walk up to them and I know that like a conversation between me and them could lead to like something better for my like personal business and career. I'm like walking up to them, my hands are shaking. I'm like paying attention to how much I'm blinking, and I'm like, am I blinking enough? Are they blinking enough? Oh God, have they noticed how much I'm not blinking? My tongue is really dry. I hope I don't say something weird. And then like by the time like they're probably saying something and I'm like 100% in my head, and then the conversation ends with like nice to meet you too, goodbye, and they walk away, and I don't remember a single thing they said. If they gave me their number or anything, I was just way too in my head of like, oh my goodness, don't mess this up. And that sucks because that happens so much to me. But
See,
like I said,
in the many years that I've known you, and you're probably going to hate me for bringing this up, but for the many years that I've known you, I've only ever seen that happen to you once. Do you remember when that was, Jesse?
I, so oh no, I don't know, but I feel like I don't want to find out, especially
It's
if this is going on to a lot of people.
when we met the Game Grumps.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was sweating like a dumb kid. I was like shaking. I got so nervous. I remember I got mad at you because you were like, "Yeah, come on, like let's all take." Like I was like walked up to him like someone you admire or look up to, and you're like, "Hi, can can I get a picture?" And then you're like, it's like, "Yeah, totally." And I'm just like so sheepish, and you're all like, "Yeah, you do it, dude. Oh, it's all good in here. It's great." And I'm like, "Oh no, don't!" I was like, I was like dying of embarrassment.
Because I
Like
remember
it was a
they
good
were in front of
experience.
us. They were in front of us on the corner of a street downtown, and like I was nervous too, but I just kind of like sucked it up. I'm like, no, I have to do this, and we're just like to each other like wagging each other, dude.
Yeah, that was that was a moment. That was a great moment. But yeah, you're right. I was definitely nervous and sweating like a pig. Oh,
Yeah,
jeez.
but it
Yeah.
says the reason I bring it up is because it says a lot about meeting people for work or
Yeah.
meeting people for work because you meet big names like that and it's like, okay, am I gonna or am I gonna try and network? And at the at the point, neither of us had anything to network with, but it's those kind of reactions that make it difficult to actually network like face to face if you don't have any common ground to start with, like school.
Mhm. Oh yeah, totally. Um, and yeah, like I said before, I feel like that's the main reason I suggest people go to school for networking purposes. Again, not for everyone, but it's I think there's a lot of value in that. But it was an experience for sure. But school is part of the reason I have my editing, not edit, I'm not current. School is part of the reason I have my job now, and school is uh, probably will be the centerpiece of uh, a bit of my success in the future. So, like, who's to
Yeah.
say butterfly? But no, no, I'm excited to see where the future leads. Um, and like we kind of touched on earlier, it's unfortunate for you, but fortunate for me to a degree of this whole like pandemic situation because there are a lot of people looking for editors now. It's becoming much more of a something people are looking at. Like already, like I'm currently employed, so I'm not looking for anything. But never in my life have I gotten more DMs, emails about legitimate opportunities, and I think that's kind of where the climate's going. Of oh, we're indoors all the time. We're all moving to working from home, and I think it all correlates.
Yeah, definitely. So would you say that um, if you had gotten the job you have now with this studio and the editing firm, whatever it is called that you work at, um, would you think that you would have been as appreciative of school if you had gotten that job first? Like, do you think school played a part in like how like more fulfilled you felt, or I don't, that's not the right word. How I can't even speak English. How like the success, the feeling of success that you got from getting that job. Do you think school played a part in that?
I definitely think it played a part. I think it was more, I guess, validating. It's kind of hard to explain because, like I said, butterfly effect, or it's hard to really know what my opinion would be if I would have went straight from not school. But it's one of those things where you you work as a freelancer for so hard and you spend so much time and effort and money and putting into your own business, and I feel like for the amount you can put in, the results are really small, and that's really like you do what you love, but I feel like that's hard. It's hard on you personally. It's hard on you mentally, and I feel like the fact that I went to school and then immediately saw a good return out of that,
Yeah,
like it makes me feel really thankful for school, and it makes me feel that that hard work paid off. You know, like those nights staying up, making sure I got a project done or studying for a test, and like, like that the fact that a job was produced out of that, or like as far as I can tell, like jobs as far as the future goes for me, like that's that's enough for me to say that the immense amount of debt I made is worth it.
yeah. Well, because the thing is we live in a digital era, and
Yeah,
unfortunately, in that digital era, everything's on the internet. So you like I could go online and learn anything about like an editing program like Premiere Pro, for example. I could learn everything and anything, what the shortcuts do, how to do certain things. But the thing that I won't get from the internet is a couple of things. Is one, the experience of working on real projects with real people prior to going out and trying getting experience with this, and two is the networking that we already talked about, because you got the opportunity to work on different projects for different people. And I think I can't remember, I think I took some photos for one of the projects that you did, the noir one.
Yeah.
I found those photos the other day. I'm like, what can I do with these?
I would love to make that longer. Not gonna lie, I got an email from. I was way too busy to do anything about it, but I got an email talking about that if this was longer, we could submit it to a festival.
And you got a better voiceover.
Of course, yeah. Like things change. If we remade it and we lengthened it, did it professionally, and didn't have the constraints that I was given, like we can make that thing freaking sick.
Yeah, but, I think it'd be great.
Yeah, but like, yeah, I think you said everything pretty succinctly. I don't think I really need to elaborate at all.
Yeah, because I think we've tried coming up with ideas for projects that we could work on together. Because I do the photography and I do videography as well. Not as much because it's not in as much demand. It's not what I'm known for.
I mean, we mesh pretty well. So I mean, the fact that like photographer, videographer, editor, like they go together like peanut butter and ladies.
Oh my god, you're not wrong though. I think like if we came up with a project that we could work on, I think it would end pretty well. Because like from the beginning, even though we were both like nervous twig little kids, we were
twig.
Shut up. We were smaller. We were like at least a foot shorter. You maybe 2 feet shorter. I don't know. But we immediately meshed. We started working on like training together and going to the gym together and gaming a lot together, which I'm assuming we're probably going to do right after this.
Yeah, obviously. Get wrecked, dude.
Yeah, Smash Bros. Smash Bros. Ultimate. We need to revive that drinking game.
Oh yeah, it's been a while.
I think it was your 21st birthday. It was the last time we actually played that drinking game.
Smashed? Yeah. Maybe. I don't remember. It's been a hot minute though, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think the last time we played a game and started drinking was we played Super Hot.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Oh, definitely.
VR is great.
I have one now.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Oh, you have VR?
I've got the PSVR for the PS4.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I don't know if it's podcast worthy, but cut it if you need it. I know what you should get.
What?
You should get the Star Wars Squadron, where it's all in VR and it's multiplayer, and I had the PSVR, and we could both fly Star Wars vehicles in VR and multiplayer together.
Definitely, because like I don't have the wand remotes. I've just got the gun attachment.
You can just use a controller.
Yeah, I can do that too.
Yeah, and dude, we can both fly X-wings. It'll be sweet.
We both fly X-wings, and then we can make a YouTube video about it. So let's just tie it in with what we're doing now.
Yeah, we could stream it exactly.
Stream it on Twitch.
All the way.
But yeah, so it's good to hear from the perspective of someone who went to school on all this stuff, because obviously I didn't. I can't afford it because I don't want to pay $20,000 a semester for the school that I would have to go and do.
Of course.
But like I've taken a few online courses in like color grading and stuff like that, just because color grading is something I was never really good at. I can cut, paste, and slow things down, and I can do a little bit of like audio engineering, which is not very much, and that gets me by. One of these days that we should do, like once COVID restrictions lift, is I should go out, or we should go out, shoot some video, and have an editing competition where like you come up with one edit, I come up with the other, and we just have people vote.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I definitely do that. I've loved doing that in the past. So much fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Taking the same concept and making something of it. Oh yeah, you can do so much fun. I feel like with those, sound mixing is key. I've done some great things with that.
Yeah, I'm trying to learn how to like get individual sound effects because when I put video into Premiere Pro, unless it's like a talking head shot like we are right now, I always take out the audio and I put my own audio in. I put the music, I try and get some sound effects in there. Like none of it is from the actual video audio that came
Mhm.
out of the camera.
So, actually, you touched on something I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
So, what do you use for software? As far as like, obviously, there's so much editing software out there. As someone who is just like more focusing on the photography aspect of it, what you've been mentioning Premiere Pro. Um, are you a much bigger fan of those, or do you use any other products other than the Adobe Cloud?
Uh, I mostly just use the Adobe Cloud because see the thing is I tried Final Cut, I tried DaVinci. I didn't like either of them. I didn't like the way they were laid out. Nothing was as accessible as Adobe, and honestly, I already pay so much a month for Adobe stuff. I don't want to like have two different bills. Just clump it all in one and take it out of my account.
Totally,
Um, but I find because I'm getting everything in one package, I might as well use what I'm already paying for. Because
totally.
I get Lightroom, which is my primary photo driver that I use to edit everything. I really don't like using Photoshop for whatever reason. It's just overly complicated, and now they've taken like the color grading tools from Premiere Pro, and they've actually put that into Lightroom, so I can color grade a photo the same way I would color grade a video, which I really enjoy. But Photoshop's too complicated for me. I use Premiere Pro and a little bit of After Effects for video, but I don't really know After Effects all that well, so I don't use it as often. But definitely Premiere Pro and Lightroom are my two main workhorses that I deal with on an almost daily basis.
That's awesome. That's good to know. It's good to know perspectives. I think we both had probably different answers and stuff to, or at least different perspectives. But if you were to recommend someone just starting out, say they just want to start out as in, I guess in your shoes, as a videographer or photographer, or just want to break into editing that isn't so complicated, what would you recommend to your average person?
Well, that's the fun. That's what I actually really enjoy about um, Adobe is you can get like you can go if you have a tablet or a phone. And like nowadays, when you shoot something out of a camera, it can you can wirelessly transfer it to your phone or your tablet, no problem. I do that all the time as like a redundant backup. But you can download and use uh, Adobe Lightroom CC, like the web based version where everything is uploaded to the cloud and blah blah blah. And you can download Premiere Rush, which is just a very basic, cut, paste, add some audio kind of program. And you don't need an account. You can create an account, doesn't charge you, doesn't cost you anything, and you can learn how to do it on your phone, which is really convenient because when you're starting out, like I have for the past God knows how many years, is you use your phone to take photo and video, and then the app is already right there, ready to go.
Totally. Yeah.
And
It's great.
it costs you nothing. It just costs you storage in your phone. And nowadays, like you've got the cloud, you've got an infinite amount of data storage everywhere.
Exactly. Yeah. It's pretty accessible, without a doubt. Easy enough.
I mean, as long as you're not using programs like Windows Movie Maker or what was that other one that was really trash? I mean, iMovie is okay. I don't know if it still is. I haven't used iMovie in like 7 years. But if you use what you have, or get something you don't need to pay for.
Yeah, totally.
Because I think what was the Photoshop program that you showed me? I think it was like Gimpy or something.
Oh, geez, I don't even remember.
It was just like it was exactly like Photoshop, but it cost me nothing. I just had to download it. It was a little bit more complicated, but it worked. It worked for what I needed.
Yeah. I think it was Gear Track. like, how do I spell that? Krita is what I use instead of Photoshop.
Yeah, let me Google this because now I'm just curious. Uh, yeah, it was GIMP. Was the
Oh
one
yeah,
you
yeah,
showed me. I know, like you recognize that logo.
oh yep, totally.
Yeah, so it was like it's these things that we just do to get by the time because it takes time. Like to get all my camera equipment, I needed time. I needed money I didn't have. Uh, Same with like you with your computer. I remember you were like saving and saving and saving, and then boom, Black Friday, Best Buy, I'm going.
Yeah, totally. Now we have the luxury of building our own computers.
Yes. So did you just rebuild a new computer?
A while ago.
Yeah,
That's a nice.
I'm in the process now of rebuilding mine, but it's going to be more data centric and processing centric than anything else.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, you need to have a pretty high end device to do all the complicated stuff as far as editing is concerned, especially if you're After Effects heavy, which I really like to be.
Yeah, so I'm assuming you use After Effects for most of your editing.
I use After Effects for the effect portion. I guess ripping back to editing softwares you prefer. I really like DaVinci. I have been using that for most of my things. I kind of bounce in between different ones depending on kind of what mood I'm in or what I want, because all the editing softwares, at least the ones I've used, which is Final Cut, Sony Vegas, Adobe, Avid, and DaVinci.
Mm,
They all have their pros and cons, but I find most of the time if I'm left up to my own devices and I don't have to use specific software for a project, then I'm going to pick DaVinci. Um, the node system is a lot different than what you see in the other softwares, but once you master it, it's pretty intuitive. But I rarely touch Premiere anymore, but I find that if I need effects done, it's not hard just to input your project from DaVinci or Avid or anything and just plop that into After Effects to get what you want from it.
yeah.
So yeah, After Effects is definitely my most used Adobe product. But as a whole, it's not what I'm really using to compose a sequence or an edit.
Yeah, definitely. I guess that's why like I enjoy using the Adobe products more is they tend to meld more together and you can transfer like I can open up a photo in Lightroom and then I just right click on the photo and it's like open in Photoshop. It opens it with the edits I've already done, change things, do the same thing open in Lightroom, it'll open in Lightroom with all of the changes I've already made in Photoshop.
Oh yeah, no, it's super convenient, and I use Adobe for fully for a very long time, just because of that ease of use of transfer in between the different kinds of software, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I just like there was something about DaVinci that I just didn't like.
It acts differently than everything else, especially with the node system. Like it's a it's a different kind of beast for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I had my issues with it, so I just went back to what I already had, and it works just fine. And everyone's
Yeah.
gonna get. You can use two completely different programs and get the same result if you know what you're
Oh,
doing.
totally. Yeah, definitely. Most feature films are cut on Avid these days, and that's probably my least favorite editing software of all time.
I don't think I've heard of Avid.
It's the industry standard for it's what most films are cut on, like most blockbusters, like a Chris Nolan film or a Avengers film or whatnot. They're all good.
It sounds
Um,
complicated.
yeah. So what makes Avid amazing is that, like, I think it's not intuitive at all. I think it's really dumb. But what makes Avid really amazing is that uh, it's all on one big. I'm not sure like the exact wording of how it is, but it's all kind of on one big server. So if there are 100 people in an office, they can all be working on the exact same project at the same time.
I guess that makes sense.
So, like, say me and you are working on the same, me and you are working on an edit together. We can literally be working on the same thing together. If I make a cut, you can see that cut immediately.
That sounds like it would confuse a lot of people while they're editing.
Not quite to that degree. That's not quite how the workflow goes, but just as an example,
Okay.
it's just one of those things where if you have different tasks relegated to different people throughout a process of a film, it really streamlines together.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Which is super convenient. If we're working on a film together, and if you wanna mix the audio while I am doing the transitions in a piece that's already cut together, and then we can do that simultaneously.
That's definitely interesting.
I don't quite not as that quite of an example because you're right; those would contradict a little bit, but you get what I'm saying broadly, right?
It's something I'd like to see in practice.
Yeah, that's what I use at work, and I think the site is super dumb, but it has, like I said, the fact that you can work on multiple things with multiple people is nothing the other sites do or the other programs do, which they should really do. But yeah, like I said, everything has its ups and downs.
Yeah, fair enough. It looks like we're getting pretty close to that hour mark, so let's wrap it up here, and we'll go do some gaming. Jesse, everybody, hopefully he'll be back and didn't get too bored or pissed off at my meanness. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.